Population growth curves from organisms and population. Welcome to Arca's NEET Biology. Now let us discuss the concept of population growth curves. Now the growth models, they are the two types of growth models which are being explained for a population. It may be the exponential growth curve or it may be the logistic growth curve. Exponential growth curve operates when there is plenty of availability of natural resource. Okay, there is no predator pressure or there is a continuous supply of natural resource and no change in environment. Then the population always increase in a geometric progression. Okay, now this exponential growth curve can be studied by the formula difference in the population at time t. Differential equation dn by dt is equal to number of births minus number of deaths into initial population. Now this birth minus death can be taken as intrinsic rate of increase and that is being represented by the letter R. Then dn by dt is equal to Rn. So this is the formula for calculating the exponential growth for a population. And here n is the population size, b is the birth rate, d is the death rate and R is the intrinsic rate of natural increase in a population. Now as the R value is being increased, then the population size will be increased. The shape of this exponential curve is it always have a J shape. When there is continuous supply of natural resource, the population size will be continuously increasing. So the shape of the curve is J shape. Now if you take the logarithms on both sides, then the integral form of the equation dn by dt is equal to Rn is nt is equal to n naught e power rt, where nt is the final population, nt is the initial population, r is intrinsic rate of increase and t is time. E is the base of natural logarithm and its value is 2.78. Okay, any species growing exponentially with unlimited natural resource will always have a J shape. There is no check means there is continuous increase in the population size. The second type of growth model is logistic growth curve. This is the most realistic growth curve which happens in nature because there is no population in nature which is having continuous supply of natural resource. At any point of time, it has to face the climax or checkpoint. When it reaches this checkpoint, the superior species will be surviving, the inferior species will be lost from the population, which we call it as struggle for existence. So every species in a habitat will be facing certain checkpoint when there is limited supply of natural resource. So that climax is called as carrying capacity, which is being represented by the letter K. And now the other name for this logistic growth curve is, it is also called as Verrall-Spurl logistic growth curve. And the equation for calculating this logistic growth curve is dn by dt is equal to Rn k minus n by k, where dn by dt is difference in the population at time t is equal to intrinsic rate of increase into initial population into carrying capacity minus initial population by carrying capacity. And now if you see the growth model shape, it always have an S shape. Okay, now here when there is availability of natural resource, the population size will be increasing. When it faces the checkpoint, there is slight decrease in the population and later on it reaches a stable stage or asymptomatic stage. Now, what are the phases in this S-shaped curve means? Initially, it had the lag phase, no change in the growth in the population. It is adjusting to the environment. And later on, after adjustment, when there is a continuous supply of natural resource, the population will be increasing. So, this phase is called as log phase or acceleration phase, and after that it faces slight decrease in the population, so this is called as deceleration phase, and after that the curve is stable, and that is called as the asymptomatic phase or stable phase. So the shape of the curve is, it is having an S shape. So now these are the two growth models which explains the population. But there is changes in the life history or variations in the life history of organisms. And here the R value is being changing from species to species depending upon their reproductive potential. And now, what are the difference in the breeding potential of the organisms from species to species means? There are certain species who breed only once in their lifetime. For example, salmon fish and bamboo. Once breeding, this organism will be dying off. No further reproductive potential. But there are certain organisms who breed many times in their life. For example, birds and mammals. And there are certain organisms who produce large number of small sized offsprings like oysters and pelagic fishes. And there are certain organisms who produce small number of large sized offsprings. Example is birds and mammals. So due to this difference in reproductive potential, this study of population is again under the current area of research. If you like the concept of this population growth models, please like, share and subscribe. This is Pravalika signing off.